when we compete on ideas, it's ideas about the people of Kenya. It's not about the egos of politicians. When you see people resorting to violence, personal attacks, then they are deviating from the real core of politics. Auditor General, in 6 months audit of share, 11 billion Kenya shillings is lost. If it was Singapore, the health CS will now be facing the firing squad.
He was asking why should he resign.
He is even surprised that why should he resign, that 11 billion is too little. You worship me, I'm the big man. So I'm the Father Christmas, the ultimate honcho, the big bazoo.
So it is satisfying the ego.
Satisfying the ego. It's about the ego, that you all come to me, I give you 200,000 units in Nandi, I give you 110,000 units in Oma Bay. You know, the first thing that when you ask me, people don't vote for Safina, and who should they vote for? The answer is very simple. It's a problem to say who will they vote for. Why are you voting for someone? Vote for an idea.
Great to see you. Hello there and welcome to this particular platform, a platform dedicated to speaking about the truth, speaking about ideology, a people-centered platform. Here we don't focus a lot on politicians, but of course they shape how we live based on the economy and human rights and etc. But in this conversation today, I'm happy to be back in this office where we started, got lots of views, so you probably subscribed because of our first show. If you haven't, please check if you have subscribed, because if you haven't, you might not receive a notification to show that we have a great conversation. We're speaking to Kenyans here in Kenya and in the diaspora. I'm here with Willis Otieno, Deputy President to be for me. Great to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, Jadiel. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm doing great. The platform is growing thanks to you.
I'm glad to hear that.
You are the first person to come here, and people subscribed because of the ideas that you gave on our first conversation. And for that, I'm grateful. Political intolerance. Let's start from there. This conversation about Gachagua Othaya. At first, I saw it and was like, oh, you know, these are just politicians playing games. But then I looked at it keenly and I said, this ought not to happen, because you're seeing children being tear-gassed. And this is Gachagua saying that his life is in danger. Of course, politicians say anything for sympathy. But what is your view when you look at what happened in Othaya? Because we're not supposed to say this.
You know, first we must all condemn what happened in Othaya, whether stage managed or state sponsored. You cannot expose innocents, women and children, to that level of violence just for appearing in a place of worship to pray to their God. Despite your political views, your political differences, those poor women and children who suffered the brunt of that brutality had nothing to do with anybody's political views. Their presence in the church was purely to worship their God. Then you also saw the neighbors who suffered injuries. Some of their properties were damaged. Had nothing to do with the political contestations. So political intolerance and violence must be condemned. And those who don't like a certain politician's views, it's a competition of ideas. You don't have to resort to violence to muzzle the voice. Come up with counter arguments. Because when we compete on ideas, it's ideas about the people of Kenya. It's not about the egos of politicians. When you see people resorting to violence, personal attacks, then they are deviating from the real core of politics. Politics should be a competition of ideas, and when the best idea wins an election, everybody wins. The people win. Because your ideas, your campaign platform, should be about how to improve the lot of the people. And if your idea wins, like the Safina ideas will win, it will be implemented as a policy impacting on the lives of every Kenyan. But when you resort to violence against innocent civilians, how are you advancing the cause of a country? You're not.
What do you think Gachagua is doing right to get to this place where whenever he stands on a podium, it's as if he's being attacked?
You know, that is legacy politics. I don't pay much attention to Gachagua or to William Ruto, because to me they are all the same. These legacy politicians, their history, both of them, are mad with those kind of antics. Intolerant attacks, verbal diarrhea, violence, name-calling, hatred. Is that really what we want in the new republic? I don't believe so. So Gachagua is thriving in what legacy politics is about. If you can stand on a platform and abuse your opponent, call them names, sloganeering, he'll thrive in that space of legacy politics. William Ruto also got us and thrives in legacy politics. Name calling, sijui mara kitendawili, mara sijui mtu ya 40 years, name calling. But what has people that got to do with the people of Kenya? We don't care about the 40, mtu wa 40 years, mtu wa vitendawili, watu wa hasira. We don't care. We care about the economy. But that's a conversation none of those two are discussing.
Ruto is discussing the economy, not a program Singapore. Singapore, Kenya needs to be a first world. Not a program Kenyans need to be empowered.
What is Singapore?
According to Ruto.
No, what is Singapore?
According to Ruto, we need to be a Singapore.
If you want to be a Singapore, don't tell us that we are Singapore. Start by making sure that the 800,000 young Kenyans who have not transited to junior high are able to get access to school. Start by making sure that we don't have hordes of millions of young people who have gone through school system, are qualified, are jobless to date, because your economic policies is not creating jobs commensurate with their qualifications. How do you talk about Singapore and you are the only administration that is playing an active role in exporting our labor to foreign countries, to build those countries, not our country? What are you saying about Singapore when how many of our people are dying of preventable diseases because they don't have access money that can facilitate the access to healthcare services? That is the same sloganeering I'm talking about. Legacy politicians. Legacy politics is about lying to you. You cannot even break down to you what Singapore is. Singapore, where is an administration, you saw the other day, Auditor General, in 6 months audit of share, 11 billion Kenya shillings is lost. If it was Singapore, the health CS will now be facing the firing squad.
He was asking why should he resign.
He is even surprised at why should he resign, that 11 billion is too little. He should not be resigning because 11 billion has been siphoned out of a system when Kenyans are dying. So there is no Singapore you are going. Because the real Singapore, as somebody told me in Kisumu, is that we are going to Singapore. When we get there, we'll hang William Ruto and all the corrupt people in this republic. So we can go to Singapore, but for the sole reason of hanging those who committed atrocious, criminal, corrupt acts against the people of Kenya. But that is what, as a Safina, we are against. Sloganeering without meaning. Let's discuss the economy. You are telling us about the Nyota program.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Nyota program. What it track. Somebody gives you 50,000 Kenya shillings, right? That 50,000 you're told to start a business. What business will you start with 50,000? Government bureaucracies alone will take almost 15,000 out of that 50. You are left with 35. Tell me what business you are going to start with 35,000 that can sustain itself. Okay, you are going to buy unga chapati and cook chapati and sell, as David D likes telling Kenyans. That you can buy unga, you can start selling, baking chapati and selling to Kenyans. But once you bake your chapatis, how many Kenyans are able to afford that chapati? Because in a ward, you find that only 100 youths got it, right?
Yeah.
There were 5,000 youths who are queuing, looking for the same access to money. They didn't get it. You are only 100. You are hoping to now sell to the other 4,900 who didn't get. You will eat those chapatis yourself. So Nyota program is a fallacy. It's wasted chance. That is just campaign money that is just given to try to bribe the young people to vote for this failed regime. Safina Party, we are very clear. To deal with youth unemployment, come up with a program that guarantees access to credit. And in our first agenda, we said, let the government stop borrowing from the domestic market. Kenyans have great ideas. What they lack is access to capital. Why? Your government is borrowing illegally in the domestic market. The banks prefer to lend to the government, not to you, the private individual. Get the government out of that domestic market. The banks are holding your deposits. They'll be forced to start looking for markets to sell their loans. Interest rates will fall. 3% interest rate, you lend, you go to the bank, you ask for 1 million, interest rate is 3%. Yeah. In 1 year, you're only paying 30,000 Kenya shillings out of 1 million. With access to that capital, access to 1 million capital, You can do very much more. You can do a meaningful business venture if you wanted to. You go to affordable housing, they're telling you that, oh, we have affordable housing program that is running. You go to Nandi County, 791,000 residents of Nandi County. You put up 200 housing units in Nandi County, Kapsabet town. Then now you say that's a great program. 200 units against a population of 791,000. That's ridiculous. You're laughing at them. Safina party, as we are saying, when you stop going for domestic market, what that means is this. You will be able to access mortgage facilities at a low interest rate. You will be shocked to learn that there is only between 25,000 and 30,000 mortgages in this country. The whole country, we have 50 million people plus. Only 30,000 mortgages have been taken. Why? You go to the bank to take a mortgage, interest rate is 20-25%. People are not taking. But you stop borrowing the domestic market, interest rates will fall. You can afford to get a mortgage. You'll be given a mortgage at 3% interest rate. So many Kenyans will get it. I'll be able to access the capital and go and put up a housing unit for students at JKUAT. I'll be able to go to Bondo University, put up housing units to target that market. Somebody will put up a housing unit targeting the young middle class who've just graduated. You'll see a property boom across the entire country without government spending a coin. You are creating jobs and opportunities across the country without government spending even a single coin of the people's money.
Then why are we going through this circus of Ruto mtu wa kazi, kazi bila break, mjengo, nyota? Why are we going through all this? What do you think the president hopes to achieve? Because what you're saying will resonate well with the people, and I believe people will vote for that. But why does government go through all this?
Because the foundation of this government, this administration, is legacy politics. What is legacy politics about? You worship me, I'm the big man. So I'm the Father Christmas, the ultimate honcho, the big bazoo.
So it is satisfying the ego.
Satisfying the ego. It's about the ego. That you all come to me, I give you 200,000 units in Nandi, I give you 110,000 units in Oma Bay, I give you some incomplete project in Siaya. So you always just cheered.
So it's deeper than corruption.
It's deeper than corruption. And also, in corruption, they are the contractors of these units. They are supplying cement and steel to these units. How many of their acolytes have they given contracts to even do windows and doors? Supply gypsum, do electrical wirings. It is within a small confined group. And they're the ones selling cement and selling steel. So they're making money for themselves. So it's a project for them to make money.
And satisfy their egos.
Satisfy their ego in the process while they're doing it. If it was a genuine program to help the people of Kenya, you simply say, why can't every Kenyan have an opportunity, an equal opportunity to access the money and build houses? And if you wanted to address the housing challenge, you'd have simply said, okay, let's stop borrowing from the domestic market. Any Kenyan who desires can go to the market, go to the bank, take a facility, put up those houses units at a cheaper cost. You will still employ people. You will still buy those steel. But now it will be still being bought from every company, not just one preferred company.
Don't be biased, but if people don't vote for Safina, where would you say their focus should be? Not a personality or a party, but what should be the level of which people should think about when it comes to looking for a person? Because we've talked about ego, which I think is important. What do you think is the characteristic of a good leader to change Kenya?
You know, the first thing that when you ask me, people don't vote for Safina, and who should they vote for? The answer is very simple. It's a problem to say who will they vote for. Why are you voting for someone? Vote for an idea. The question should be, what idea will you vote for? Because we are tired of rewarding legacy politicians. That is what Kenyans have been doing. You are voting for an individual. We should be voting for an idea that is just represented by an individual. But we know what we are voting for is this idea. It's simplified in a language that the people understand and able to synthesize and comprehend and say, once we vote this direction, this is what will happen in our lives. Not those lofty manifestos that they sell to you here that they don't even mean. It must be a very simplified thing that I'm voting because of this. And the moment I vote, this will happen in my life. So the problem with the people of Kenya today is the economy.
But don't you think it is
And
the
when I
person
say
who's
that-
riding the vision?
No.
of the idea?
First is you identify the idea. Once we agree that the problem is the economy, the next step is who is making economic sense to me? Whose proposal, now the face behind the idea, is making sense to address my economic problem. Once you identify that person, then you vote that route. But if you put the person before the idea that you're voting for William Ruto, to what end?
What do you think is the bigger problem? Is it the economy, or is it making systems work, as Maraga puts it? How would you say you are different from Maraga, as much as you're talking about the economy, or is it a combination of both?
Both are in interplay, but the most important of them all is the economy. Because in Kenya we have this cake, a small cake. For you to govern this country, the population is increasing every day. You have a huge youth population that's unemployed. You need to give them an opportunity today. You can have systems that are working at full throttle, 100%. But if the cake is this small, you will still have so many other people who deserve an opportunity not getting it because the cake is small.
Yeah.
So the idea should be, how do you make a bigger cake? How do we expand the economic sphere? That is the difference between Safina and the others.
Because that is the bone of contention, if I can use that word, when it comes to the difference between Jimmy Willis and Maraga's side. People are thinking, who is better? And this is why I'm asking this question. You are saying correctly that if systems work and the cake is not bigger to fit the whole people, it will not change the country.
It will not change, because if you are talking about, let me give you explain it in a simpler way. This is how much we have as a country. Of course, there's money that is being siphoned through corruption. You see all those corruption loopholes. The cake still remains the way it was. The huge burgeoning our population of our young people that are unemployed still remains. But it should be about providing an opportunity for everyone. So sealing the loopholes does not guarantee the young man a job. So Safina, for example, we are saying, stop borrowing from the domestic market. Allow the private individual to access that credit at low interest rate. Interest rates fall to 3%. Can you just try to imagine that we are moving our present mortgages from 25,000 to 200,000 mortgages? Can you imagine the property boom that will come with? And the opportunities it will create? The young people who are unemployed, who will now be begged by banks to go and take loan, credit facilities. The banks will be training them, encouraging them on how to capitalize and to profit from their inventions. Because they have ideas. What they lack is access to capital. So sealing the loopholes of corruption without giving an opportunity to profit from their invention does not address the problem. So our platform, what our program will do, is giving an opportunity for everybody to access capital, to be able to turn their idea into profit at a low interest rate. And as you turn your idea into profit, you will also be required by the needs, exigencies of time, to employ other people. When you access a mortgage facility and you want to put up a house, you will have to employ workers, laborers.
Yeah.
And it's across the entire country, not limited to a political cabal.
That is what the president is saying with affordable housing, that he's employed over 400,000.
No.
You get to
those
6 million.
Those are, if you look at the statistics from the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics, and I think also keep, they've told you the housing sector has shrunk. Those who are employed in the housing sector, the numbers have reduced. The consumption of cement in Kenya, the numbers have reduced. Why? With this affordable housing and the inability to access capital, many people in the private sector, private space, who are putting up houses stopped. Right? Now government became the Father Christmas. So if the number of housing units, employment in the housing sector has reduced, the consumption of cement has reduced, what does it tell you?
That there is no employment.
There is no new employment you are creating.
Yes.
There was a market that was taking up this much cement last year, but one, that now is taking less. So that your system is not working. It's only working for you and your Cabral. That is what we reject.
Let me ask you this. When you look at UDA, they are trying as much as possible to consolidate their party. Online registration, aspirant nomination to... How is Safina?
Safina Party, we are also doing our work. We are having grassroots conversations and engagement with the people. Kenyans who believe that it is time that we take back our country from legacy politicians. And we have a robust online presence. In fact, anybody who wishes to join Safina, *509#, and you follow the prompts. It will send you a PIN number, then you again dial *509#, enter the PIN, then go into membership, and you join Safina. And many Kenyans are expressing a desire to join Safina Party because they want politics that makes sense to them. Kenyans are tired of the sloganeering politics, where people just shout, sloganeer, abuse each other on the platform, and there's nothing concrete about them. Safina, for example, what we've said, the Kenyan people have suffered high cost of living. How do you address the high cost of living? VAT is a major component in terms of determining the price of goods and services, which are VAT. 16% VAT. Do you know today, at minimum, the Kenyan worker is paying 54% of his salary in taxes. If you take VAT, you take pay as you earn, you take affordable housing levy, you take shift share, you take NSSF, you take fuel levy, it's almost 55, in fact almost 60-something% of your earning is spent on taxation.
Yeah.
And the services they get is mediocre. In France or Denmark, they pay 54%. What do they get in return? Free healthcare, fully paid by the state, their taxpayer money. They get education, guaranteed from primary to university, paid for by the state. They get a social welfare program that if you are unemployed, the state has a responsibility to find you a job. And when you are still unemployed, they live and pay you.
So that has been Ruto's argument that we are not even being taxed like other countries.
No, but the quality of service they get in return. In Denmark, if you are unemployed, they will pay you. The government, number one, registers you and looks for you a job. And as you are still waiting to be enlisted, you'll be paid.
But this is what the president wants to start giving Kenyans 6,000. I think he wants to educate Kenyans and give them 6,000 shillings per month. Is this that direction?
No. Is he giving them 6,000 for what? Political expedience?
Upkeep.
Upkeep for 6,000. Is that now what is adequate? If I gave you 6,000 today and told you go and live with your family, how much is your rent? How much is electricity? How much is transport? You see, this is a joke. Those are things that are just used to try to gaslight the masses. That was a social program. If you could not even do the one for the old people, they dropped that one. Now you think you will do the 6,000. Those ones, if you see him doing it, will be towards election time, done for 2 months to hoodwink the masses. That will be voter bribery.
Come back to Safina Party. What systems or structures are in place to ensure that we do not have, those party fallouts that come when it comes to the nomination time?
Because in Safina, we believe that those who are in Safina, you must believe in the ideology of Safina. And our ideology is that it's about the economy. We are in a phase of our country where the Kenyan people only care about the economy at first instance. So what unites us in the party is an ideology, and it's the economy. Once you are all agreed on an ideology, then differences become a problem. Even if there are personal disagreements, for as long as it feeds into the greater goal, which is the economy, as the driving force for ideology. We may disagree on the tactic to achieve it, but in terms of the greater goal, it's about economic liberation. Then differences can easily be dealt with. And the legacy politicians and their surrogates who don't believe in this ideology of economic liberation. Their systems cannot even find accommodation. They will find they're out of place if they came into the Safina space. And that is why we are not having any conversation with anybody on coalition building. Because look at both sides, when they believe in regional kingpins. I'm from Murima, I'm from Kambani, I'm from Kalenjin land, Jaluo, Coast. That once you put somebody from Coast, the entire Coast is sorted. Everybody in Coast is satisfied.
Yeah.
You bring a Maasai here, all Maasais are satisfied.
Yeah.
Yet, it is just that one individual and his family.
But is it really that individual and his family according to the people?
No.
Because this is why the people are following that individual.
The point is, what is our problem as a people? Our problems as Kenyans are the following. There are three. Poverty, disease, and illiteracy. Three. If you appoint John Mbadi, for example, as a CS of Finance, has that appointment by itself alleviated poverty, disease, and illiteracy in Sindo? If you go to his backyard today, you are going to find abject poverty. You are going to find people are dying of preventable diseases because they don't have money to access hospitals. You are going to find young people who ought to be in school are not in school because of lack of school fees. You will find in that same village so many WhatsApp groups where people are trying to fundraise. It's the VCS Finance. So many young people are trying to fundraise to go to school. Families are trying to fundraise to take their sick ones to hospital. So, has that addressed the problem? But in Mbadi's individual family, if anybody is sick, he is earning money as a CS. He will be able to contribute to the family, take them to hospital. If there's a kid who needs school fees, he has his school fees program he can give them.
But is it working politically? Because we have also seen Mama Aida now being given a job. I listened to the daughter speaking about it's only the president who has really helped them amongst the political leadership. Does it really help when you say, I'm giving Mama Aida and I hope I will get Babas, a couple of Babas guys to vote for me?
The old mindset, that will work. In the old mindset, Kenyans looked at their leaders and they thought when the leader is comfortable, we are okay. But this is a new republic. Yeah, it is good for the family, it's good for the individual. But the problems remain three. Poverty, disease, and illiteracy. Because in Mama Aida's backyard, you'll find somebody who has slept hungry last night. So the problem still remains, even after she's appointed. So you don't mix these two. That is a different political process. Legacy politicians can thrive in it. But Safina, we are focused on that old woman in the village who slept hungry last night. How can we have a political system that implements economic policies that guarantees her food every day? In the backyard of Mbadi or Mama Aida, there are people who are not going to school. There are young men who are qualified but don't have jobs. We want an economic system which Safina will implement that creates opportunities for those people in the villages and to those people in the city to get jobs commensurate with their qualifications. So that if a big man is appointed in that village, they don't care. They say that is good for him, we can congratulate them, but our three problems are being addressed based on the agreed economic platform. That is what Safina is about.
Finally, Safina, do you have the numbers? Because you have addressed issues, and these issues resonate with everyone. But then, as Oki used to ask you, muko na numbers kwa ground. When you look at the journey so far, from when you started speaking about the economy to what UDA is doing, ODM is doing, Maraga is doing, United Opposition is doing, do you have the chunk to get 50+1? Looking at the numbers now.
I do believe that the Kenyan people are out there scouting for a campaign that makes sense to them. And top of the minds of many Kenyans is the economy. And top of the mind of those many Kenyans to whom the economy makes sense is the issue Safina is making sense to them. And in Safina, it's not about rewarding Willis Otieno. It's not about my ego. It's about the country. My competition is not William Ruto or United Opposition or Maraga. No. Our competition is how to address the three. Yeah, this is the competition. If we focus on addressing these three, that the campaign becomes at who has the best policy to address these three. And that campaign wins. See, everybody wins, including the side that may think they've lost. But legacy politicians will want you to say that, oh, Willis, you are competing with William Ruto, you defeated him. I won't defeat William Ruto. The Kenyan people have won in terms of a policy that when implemented will give them a chance on the economy, a chance in education, and a chance in healthcare. There's something I wanted to say, if you can allow me to finish it. The high cost of living. What is our proposal as Safina? We said you are contributing 16% VAT, and your taxable income, when aggregated, it comes to almost actually 64% of what you earn goes to taxation. Somebody was doing for me the extrapolation and says out of every 24 days a Kenyan goes to work. Out of every 24 days a Kenyan goes to work, 16 days is working for the government for free. Government takes you 16 days of his work. What that means is this for Safina, that's what we are saying. Let's make VAT, do away with it. Remove the 16% VAT, introduce only a 5% sales tax. VAT contribution to our tax revenue last financial year was 329 billion Kenya shillings. That is a fact. When you remove VAT and reduce only 5% sales tax, it means that the prices of vertible goods and services will automatically fall by 11%. 5% is what they'll be paying. The money that they were I thought of paying in VAT, 11% of it will be retained in their pockets. If I was buying one loaf of bread, I now have an extra coin in my pocket. I'll now buy 2 loaves of bread. The baker must bake more bread. He must hire more hands to distribute this bread. So he must hire more tractors, more pickups, or more border borders to do the distribution. Because now more and more people are eating bread, for example. So the extrapolation, once done by an actuary, has shown us that with this system, in 3 years, you'll be collecting almost 500 billion from the 329 billion you are collecting under VAT. But in the process, you'll have given people a relief, you've encouraged more consumption, you've stimulated the economy, and you've, in the process, earned much more than you're earning in the old system. That is what Safina is talking about. Creative, innovative ideas on how to turn the economy and make it make meaning to the people.
Why isn't Lee proposing this?
He can't. He can't. This is beyond his bandwidth.
No,
it's beyond.
No, after you've said it, you understand it and implement it.
This micro.
You take over power.
No, this micro will tell you that you go and spend 2,000 shillings to bake chapati. So you address the person to bake chapati without addressing the buyer of that chapati. As we are addressing the buyer of the chapati and the baker. Have you ever heard him talk about both ends, the consumer and the producer? He doesn't.
It's just the producer.
An innovation, a stimulant package will address both the producer and the consumer. That is what Safina is about. But legacy politicians cannot have this kind of a conversation. Because remember, in this conversation, when you implement this program, you are empowering the people. You are giving them money. You are making them little kings and queens. We will control them. The legacy politician wants them to be poor, desperate, queue for 100 bobs, handouts. How do you expect David Dews, their surrogate, to make such a proposal that empowers the people? Puts money in their pockets. Who will queue for the legacy politicians he serves? No one?
How are the numbers? That is what I was asking. when people
So
registering
in terms
Safina,
of uptake,
are you targeting Gen Zs? Gen Zs are not registering.
no,
but they will.
we are targeting Kenyans, and I can tell you in terms of uptake, so many Kenyans are showing a willingness and are actually joining Safina Party in numbers that has even actually amazed me. People want to hear the economic message. And one thing that I also noticed, many Kenyans in their own spaces are running the Safina economic agenda, even without reference to us. Some are even opening their Safina Shinas, local bunges, they're calling them Safina Shina, without reference to us. Because they're saying this is now what is making sense to us. And we encourage Kenyans who want an economic conversation to continue doing that and to join.
Safina.
Safina is the vessel of economic liberation.
I'll be visiting you at Hustler Mansion.
No, not Hustler Mansion. You'll be visiting us at the shipyard.
Yeah.
Safina is the ark.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. I'm here with Willis Otieno telling me more about what the Safina Party is doing. I liked the part where you talked about poverty, disease, and illiteracy. And when you give someone power, they don't necessarily deal with that issue in their backyard. Final word to Kenyans watching us about Safina and your goals.
Eyes on the prize. Welcome to Safina. Safina is the vessel of economic liberation. Let's liberate our country from the hands of legacy politicians who have used the system to oppress and to dominate the people. 60 years enough. The future should be about the people, not about legacy politicians. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. Share this video with as many people as possible. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And remember, we are getting to 10K by March. Goodbye for now.